Hello to you all, and welcome to Pyramid Energy. I'm wishing you all a really good 2026. I'm going to do a reading, but I just want to say a few words around how I'm feeling about all of the predictions for this year. And I suppose this is just me imparting some wisdom that I have gathered over time. In no way being negative, because I do believe it's going to be a good year. But what I have found is that when we attach to outcomes that almost feel like they've been prepared before us, it creates a sort of a pressure that can result in regression just out of shifting your gaze from your own internal progress and putting it outside into the future. And I've found this playing out in many areas. For example, the twin flame journey and all of that. There is so much more progress one can assume for oneself when they look internally for what progress is being asked for internally. Because then what happens is that all these promises have been made and then you don't see your own progress, and then you almost detach from what is possible for you out of trying to survive from disappointment. Another thing that I'm finding to be very true to me, as I have listened to a whole lot of stuff, I think a lot of us have, the content has shifted. I'm finding it fragmented in many ways. But one thing that I'm finding consistent is that this year already, the energy has started. It's impossible to bypass the areas of growth that are being called forward from us, okay? And what I mean by this is that great levels of discomfort are being created. And it's easy for one to almost feel like this pressure is being created from the outside, but actually it's being generated very much internally because of the progress that you want to make. Okay, so it's almost temperance energy, learning how to keep your balance within the pressure. So your body is actually learning how to stay in balance and to create a sort of a safety within one's own body's ability to keep balance irrespective of pressure. So if you look at it, take a few steps back, what's actually happening is that you are being formed into a diamond that can withstand more pressure, and this is what is necessary in order for you to be able to process more clarity, with more clarity. And so this is not a discouraging message. It's actually a very encouraging message, because what I'm getting from your body as I'm speaking to you is that you can actually do this and you have this ability, and that you will be very unhappy with yourself if you do not realize this ability out of yourself. Okay, and so there's no way around it. There's only through it. And there's also no more opting out of it. It's as if like the promise has been made, and so it's going to happen. So all the things that you want to happen are going to happen. And so don't run when you feel pressure. Okay. And don't run from ultimately the surrender that is called out of you. Okay. So the pressure increases the more you try not to surrender. And so you might find yourself actually brought down to tears and, almost down to your knees at times, not knowing what to do and not wanting to be put through any more pressure without answers about which way to go. And so just allow yourself to go down to your knees. Allow it to come down. Allow all of you to come down. Because the longer that you resist that call to surrender, the more pain you actually get put through. And so in a way, it is almost like a bypass, but it's a healthy bypass, because it's an admission that you're feeling the pressure and an admission that you need answers, rather than bypassing that admission and trying to go around and, almost trying to go around the pressure and see what happens on the other side. There's a whole lot of information that you need to receive by being taken through. You need to go through it. And so only once your body feels the release of the pressure can you receive the information that's actually already waiting for you. Okay, I found this to work very well in terms of, producing more of oneself. And what also happens is that we're needing to release a lot of the structures that are keeping us, let's say, in 2025. Okay, it's this year is going to be what I'm hearing is a groundbreaking experience. But the thing is, we like the idea of the sound of groundbreaking, but if you actually listen to those words, groundbreaking is a breaking down of the ground that you're used to, of structure. And so it sounds amazing, but the process itself does ask for you to allow all of those structures to be broken down. I'm also getting a message around trying. Okay. By trying, what I'm hearing is many of you that are listening up to now, at least, have actually had a lot of upgrades taking place in your third eye, okay, and an opening of the crown. Okay. Part of the opening of this crown is almost like a way of absorbing the possibilities, because the possibilities need to enter your system in order for you to then allow all the other processes to start taking place from inside of you. This third eye pressure, again, disclaimer, I'm not a medical professional, and so anything I say does not mean, everything is fine. It just means this is how I'm processing energy, and this is how I experience upgrades. This third eye pressure can actually affect even when you're trying to read or trying to, process something with your eyes that usually is easy. That will pass, but take the message to rest from consuming whatever it is that you're consuming as you experience this, because your intuition is actually so particular and so it's guiding you so well. But don't force through the areas where your body itself is telling you, here, I am experiencing resistance. I'm wanting you to experience this resistance because there's somewhere else I need you to go. And so please don't force me down this path that you have decided you're going down. Please allow me to guide you toward the space that I want you to go towards. Okay, so this is very much about listening to your body. There is a message that I shared yesterday, different from my usual content. I channeled that. Actually, I didn't write it. What I did was I just paused in between as I was allowing the words to come in. This is something that you could try for yourself. You'd be surprised what could happen. So they're saying, please try, because your intuition, your self-intuition has so much to offer you. And especially now that a lot of the information and the channeled messages are coming through so fragmented. And I'm going to use that word again. By fragmented, I mean you actually could listen. And the danger with listening to a lot of content is that you end up assuming a lot of issues that others are experiencing that are actually not yours. And so they sound personal because you've been part of these circles and you've been listening to this energy. And if you check what I'm saying to you, is that you could easily allow someone else to drive your process and put you through stages that you've already gone through. You're very well progressed. However, you're now being called to receive this information from yourself. From yourself. Only your higher self understands exactly what you need, exactly what you came here on earth to do, came here to achieve. It has the guidance for you. And so when you are experiencing this stuff, what I'm going to call fragmented information, what you are experiencing is structures that are used to running a certain way and providing things a certain way and you're going to see a lot of those things stop working this year. I didn't actually know I was going to share this message today. When I came on to record, very much had the intention of doing a reading. And so I'm going to just see what else is coming through and possibly end this and just do a reading on a different recording. And I'll leave the link below to that recording in case, these readings never meet. There is another message coming through around, more around what you do consume. Okay. They want you to recognize that there are certain types of content that you will listen to, where especially listening stuff and where you can see the person's face or whatever, where you're actually receiving energy. So you're enjoying the energy of the person, whoever is delivering this information, but you're not necessarily agreeing with their words. They're saying that's actually okay. As long as they want you to recognize the difference. So you can be present for the energy without putting yourself at risk of assuming the information as yours. So they're saying a lot of people are actually, what they're sharing is energy. It's not necessarily around whether you need to agree with what they're saying or not. There is a lot of information that you're receiving beyond the words of the person. They're definitely giving me a message around this is the year of discernment. Discernment is going to be the determinant ultimately of how you realize your own progress. And discernment very much will be developed through having your own sort of clean slate to write on. By that, what I mean is once you have got your own information to work off, and be easy on yourself. This is a developing ability to be able to use your own intuition and get actual concrete information out of it. Once you have your own information, that becomes sort of your, I don't know if I should say litmus test. That becomes sort of your basis, the basis upon which you can compare other information to. Okay. So that you have your information and then you're listening and your discernment is being fine-tuned through that so that you can almost have like sorting bins. So you receive information and you can sort of chuck certain information easily because you just know it's not your information. And this can apply even when you listen to something, the whole thing, and then only 30% of it applies to you. That's okay. Doesn't mean you have to click off for the 70%. It just means there's so much more you're receiving, especially if you're attracted to something and your body's allowing you to listen to it. And don't force the mind to insist on either assuming or rejecting anything. As long as you have access to your information, trust your information. Trust your information and don't allow yourself to be put through things that are not yours, because there is a lot of density out there. You're going to see it this year. There is a lot of density out there. And that does not mean you are dense. That doesn't mean all of that is yours. Okay, so it's your discernment that's going to allow you to sort of speed through the process. And this is not bypassing as well, because again, if it's not yours, you're not bypassing. You just done that part of your work. You've done that. Okay, and it's only your discernment that can tell you that truth. They're also giving me a message around playing more. These are the things that you do that, not out of performance, not out of needing to deliver something. Okay. So things that you're doing that, don't necessarily relate directly to your work. No need to perform, things that you do out of a sense of duty. They're saying you will find that the things that you are doing out of duty you can almost experience blocks when it comes to those things because you're not playing. So you're needing to create a balance between the things you do out of duty and to keep order in your life and the things that you do just out of pleasure, because they're wanting you to allow a lot of that pleasure energy to filter into your duties. Okay, so very much connecting the ideas of love and value and bringing those into unity. It's going to become very important, because the things that you do purely out of duty, they're not going to last because you're not playing enough. They're going to become harder to do. You're going to experience blocks in those areas. I'm not trying to scare you. I'm just sharing what's coming through me. I need this information too. They also want me to talk about this fear-based energy that comes through as soon as old structures that are outdated are, those ones are difficult to let go of, because those are the things that we often feel we're surviving off. They're saying that there's going to be a lot of this fear-based energy coming through, and it's going to be observed. You'll see it. How to recognize it is when you show up because you're afraid to not show up. Where you do something out of duty because you must. Where you do something out of duty because you fear that if you don't do this thing out of duty, that will happen. They're saying that is very much past paradigm thinking patterns. This is just how that paradigm operates and survives. Very much the message that's coming through today came through in my channeled message yesterday. It's coming through wanting me to rather speak through it more naturally rather than perform, because yesterday was me making art, I enjoyed it. I listened to it like 8 times. It'll show up at the end of this reading as an option to click on if you haven't heard it. But that's an important message, is that thriving is going to happen through allowing yourself to recognize those fear-based patterns playing out of the old paradigm's need for survival. This is internal, this is external, but through playing, you will be able to almost adjust through this process of the shift, because this is going to be groundbreaking. This is going to be groundbreaking. Picture this, earth, ground, terrain that fractures, okay? Almost like the way the earth used to be, like, let's say, one big continent, and then all the tectonic plates sort of start moving apart, okay? But imagine this, you can see it right in front of you, and you're standing on this terrain, you're standing on this ground, and then it starts breaking. Only if you sort of have got things to stand on that allow you to feel peaceful will you not sort of feel like you might fall through those cracks. It's like if you could picture that. So it's very important, because the ground is going to break, not literally, figuratively speaking, energetically speaking, life path kind of way of speaking in terms of finding your way around. That's how it's going to feel. So you don't want to find yourself trying to run onto someone else's little island that's forming. You don't want to do that. You don't want to panic into trying to find your place by looking to see who's surviving where. You don't want to get into that panic mode. So you want to rather actually just allow this pleasure into your life so that you can feel safe wherever you are, because they're saying your pleasure is so valid. Your pleasure is more valid than you'll ever believe. And they're saying it'll never be too late. It's not to say, let's say 2027 comes and you haven't, surrendered to your pleasure, that you're going to be in trouble. They're not saying that. They're just saying you do not need to put yourself through all that pain, because your pleasure is valid. And so yes, if you don't sort of surrender to your pleasure this year, what will happen next year? Why are we going into 2027, Spirit? Okay. But they're saying that if you don't do this, you will be able to, in 2027, look back once you realize how valid your pleasure always was. But they're saying you don't need to take the long route. You don't need 2026 to be painful. It's not necessary. So they are going to prove it to you on the other side. But why do you need to put yourself through that? I'm going to close this message here. I'm grateful for it. I really am. And I'm looking forward to re-listening, because again, I channel without necessarily integrating, listening, absorbing what I've said. I very much appreciate my own gift of channeling. I say gift because I'm not saying this is, it's something we are all born with, but it's a gift. It's literally a present that's given through presence that's available to all of us. And I call it a gift because I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that I can trust every single word that I say. And I know that as you listen, what you experience is a need to discern whether this message is for you or not. And so I very much want to encourage you to accept your own gift, especially this year, to accept your own gift. It's like your little present. It's your little present. It's like your little guilty pleasure. I say this because it's crazy that we fear accepting our own pleasure. We feel like it's not valid. It is so valid, and it's going to be proven to you. And I'm sending you all so much love this year. I definitely needed this break that I took. It was very much, it was difficult. It was difficult because, the need to show up is real. The pressure, my mind kept saying, if you don't show up, this is going to happen. The algorithm will forget you. There were all these things, these voices in my head. They were there, but I knew I needed to rest. And even though you watch other content creators continue to show up, people do it for different reasons. I understand that for many people, it's very much, my body has definitely taught me a few lessons around not processing energy during this time. And so it's a give and take. But mentally, I needed that pause, that break, in order to allow some of the things that are no longer valid to die, to allow them to be suffocated. Either they have their own oxygen or they do not belong in my life. That's how I feel. Otherwise, your energy is constantly feeding these old structures that actually are not purely feeding you. They are taking your energy to keep them alive. These structures look like, especially like if, let's say you work in a similar space to me, whatever that looks like to you, where you've got to sort of receive your own spiritual direction on how to package things and how to actually do and deliver your work. I call this packaging. You can call it a container or whatever, but the word container can also start to sound very broad. How to package your work. What do you use? Your tools, your introduction, your outro, whatever it is. What do you share with your audience? What do you not share with your audience? Down particular to how you greet them. It actually can get that, let me call it stressful. So it's really that kind of stuff, so that I can realize new areas of myself. And I promise you, I already have. Some of them I haven't even expressed. Please excuse, that was my speaker switching off. Some of them I haven't even realized, but I can feel them wanting to be realized just from that break. I'm going to do this differently. I'm going to pull a spread that very much relates to this energy, and the link below will be as an extended if you're still here and want to hear it. Sending you all so much love.